Cleveland's most accurate weather team. This is a First Alert Focus Special, your 19 News winter weather forecast.
And welcome to this special edition of First Alert Focus. We're ready to share the official winter weather forecast with you.
Yeah, it's Cleveland. We know eventually it's going to get cold, it's going to snow, but I think everyone wants to know how much snow. Well, we've got that big snowfall prediction and more on tomorrow's alert day coming up.
So, to cover in the next half hour, we're gearing up for lake effect snow and what to expect in the snow belt. Plus, how to make sure your car, this is really important, prepared for all the mess winter can bring, Jason.
Yes, and we're, of course, looking back at some big storms like the Great Lakes hurricane of 1913. It was a wild storm that packed 80-mile-an-hour winds on the lake. And we'll answer that big question. How much snow are we forecasting this winter? Before all that, though, let's talk temperatures. Temperatures are very important. We talk about winter time. We know it's going to be cold, but how cold? Last year's winter was pretty mild compared to most years. The average temperature usually in December is about 34 degrees.
I'm hoping you can just warm that up a little bit for us this year, Jason. So will we stay on average? Meteorologist Samantha Roberts kicking off our team coverage tonight.
Well, you may recall last winter, it might stick out in your mind as a winter where we hardly had to use our big durable snow boots. We didn't really need to use our shovels. I did not use my snowblower once last winter. It just sat there collecting dust. Why? Well, it was a lot drier, and of course, we didn't have the cold air to work with to get a ton of snow. In fact, last winter, second warmest winter on record in Cleveland with an average temperature of 36.9 degrees. So what will this upcoming winter bring? As we look ahead to December, of course, that's knocking on our doorstep here. We are anticipating once again warmer than average temperatures. A normal temperature throughout the course of the month would be about 34 degrees. We're forecasting 36. Now that's just for December. What will January bring? We know January here can be quite brutal along the shores of Lake Erie and inland. Average temperature about 29. We're forecasting 33. So cold, but definitely above average. And then we look ahead to February. February in recent years has been warm-ish. So we're forecasting 35. Average is about 31. And while all of this equates to above average temperatures for this upcoming winter, this still wouldn't put us in a top 10 warmest winter. So bottom line, this winter might just be a little bit colder than the last few.
Well, most of the snow we see across Northeast Ohio comes from lake effect. If you live in the snow belt, you're pretty familiar with those whiteout conditions that could pop up out of nowhere. Cleveland's lake effect expert Jeff Tanchek is always keeping a close eye on the radar.
Hey, First Alert meteorologist Jeff Tanchek with you here, and why not? I'm talking lake effect. I wouldn't have it any other way. Lake effect snow heading into the winter season. Of course, that's always on everybody's mind when you get these cold fronts coming through. And did you know, okay, in the Cleveland area, much of Northeast Ohio, about 60% or so of our snow just comes from lake effect here. So if you've been a longtime resident of this area, you know what happens. You get these cold fronts that come through, and we have to see, of course, how intense the colder air is, how deep it is relative to the lake temperature. And it's not just Lake Erie, as you'll see. We have to look at the other lakes as well here. So lake effect snow, what is it? Okay, it's lake effect snow 101. Well, you have the warmer lake water temperature, and you have that cold air moving over the warmer waters of the Great Lakes. So that's what actually draws the moisture, okay? And if you're downwind of these Great Lakes, when you get these colder air masses coming in, heat and moisture, they cause clouds to form, and eventually you get snow to form. And sometimes it's not always snow. Sometimes we have a mix in there, especially early season. But heavy snow bands, they're very localized. You get into like a 4 or 5 mile squall. That's why we always say when we forecast lake effect, where squalls persist, that's where the heaviest snow is going to fall. Now here in our area, this is your bullseye, okay? Like the primary snow belt, eastern Cuyahoga County through Geauga County, inland Ashtabula County, where on an average year, you can get over 90 inches of snow. Outside of that, 30 to 40 inches, because you don't get as much lake effect. You do get some, but not as much, okay? Wind direction, moisture is key when you forecast lake effect snow. With a northwest wind, this is where you get your multi-band situation coming in off of Lake Erie, where you get several bands of lake effect. We also have to watch the Lake Huron connection. That with a north wind, that's what adds to the lake effect more in a secondary snow belt situation. Areas south of Cleveland. We also can have a Lake Michigan connection as well. See, it's not just Lake Erie. And with a west wind, the primary focus would be more in that primary snow belt east of Cleveland. And then with a southwest wind, the focus is more up towards Buffalo. So we're gearing up for another lake effect season. Early thoughts here. If we have a warmer than normal winter, then of course you get less lake effect events. But that also means to less ice formation out there on the lake, which that ice, that can decrease the amount of lake effect. But if you don't see much of it, then the lake effect season will last longer.
Hey there, everyone. Meteorologist Kelly Dobeck here at Edgewater Beach. We just heard from Jeff talk all about lake effect snow. All of this moisture in the lake combined with that cold air, creating those lake effect snow bands. That's just one part, though, of our winter and our storms that we get in Northeast Ohio. We actually have to think bigger than Lake Erie when it comes to winter weather patterns. In fact, we have to think bigger than the city of Cleveland. In fact, bigger than all of Northeast Ohio, bigger than the state of Ohio. We're talking bigger than the country. We're talking global weather patterns and how they impact our weather and our winter in Northeast Ohio and where storms come from. So when I say global weather patterns, I'm talking about El Nino and La Nina. We're in a La Nina pattern this year, so what does that mean? Normally, trade winds that blow east to west push warmer water towards Asia. Sometimes the trade winds are stronger than normal and cause cooler water to make it to the surface in the eastern Pacific. So here's a map of what that looks like when this happens in the U.S. So notice here it impacts the jet stream. You see that line, how storms travel? It's like a path of strong winds and it gets pushed north. A normal strong La Nina will bring cooler temps and more storms to the north, typically bringing storms through the Ohio River Valley. It'll also bring warmer and drier conditions to the south. So when we're talking about these global weather patterns like El Nino and La Nina, how strong they are can also determine how much of an impact they're going to make on our winter weather season. So this upcoming winter, La Nina, it's looking on the weaker side. So what does that mean for us? Well, it definitely makes things a little bit trickier and a little bit more unpredictable to forecast. If it's weaker, we may not see as much significant impacts from La Nina, which also means that Lake Erie and lake effect snow may end up being the star of the winter show.
Oh boy, well, believe it or not, 2 of Cleveland's worst blizzards were actually in November. Still ahead on our winter weather special, Andy Chillian cracks open the history books to look at the top 3 blizzards to hit Northeast Ohio.
This is a First Alert Focus Special, your 19 News winter weather forecast.
Judges put Ohio at risk, threatening our freedom and access to abortion. To stop them, vote for Mike Donnelly, Melody Stewart, and Lisa Forbes. For common sense independence, Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes. To judge the Reproductive Freedom Amendment fairly and honestly, Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes. To put safety first, vote for Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes. Don't stop fighting for your rights. And don't forget, Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes.
When your back pain is your foot's fault. This is Dean's story.
I had back pain, and I honestly didn't know where to go.
Until a friend suggested the Good Feet store.
She had to explain to me the feet are connected to the back.
And get this.
As soon as I put on those Good Feet arch supports, the pressure lifted off my back. It's like finding that missing puzzle piece. Like, yes, this is it.
Try them for yourself with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
You want the truth? Listen to this. Sherrod Brown worked with Republicans on the strongest border deal in decades. A deal Ohio needs. 1,500 border agents. New technology to stop fentanyl. The swift deportation of migrants who commit violent crimes. U.S. Border Patrol supported the bill, but you know who didn't? Bernie Moreno. He's more interested in playing politics than solving problems. Sherrod Brown's working for Ohio.
I'm Sherrod Brown and I approve this message.
At TaggApest, we promise guaranteed bed bug results to make it affordable to work with you. We did just that. So call TaggApest, 216-797-1777. Take it from me, Niecy D. We turn bed bugs into dead bugs.
We're still going for that nice catch.
We're still going for that perfect pizza. And with higher stroke risk from AFib not caused by a heart valve problem,
we're going for a better treatment than warfarin. Eliquis. Eliquis reduces stroke risk and has less major bleeding. Over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke.
Don't stop taking Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
The #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner. Ask your doctor about Eliquis.
This is a First Alert Focus Special, your 19 News winter weather forecast.
Welcome back. I'm Tiffany Tucker. Near record warmth, and we're talking about blizzards. Yeah, some of you may remember the 1950 blizzard, the Ohio State-Michigan football game. They called it the Snowfall. Almost 2 feet of snow fell in a matter of days. Well, tonight, meteorologist Andy Chillian looks at the historic blizzards that hit northeast Ohio.
I'm meteorologist Andy Chillian out here at Lake Erie, right off the pier of Cleveland. Now, it may not be too active right now, but there was times in Cleveland's history when this looked a lot different out here. And so I'm going to talk about the worst blizzards in Cleveland history. There's 3 that really are in the history book. Now, first of all, before I do that, I need to talk about what defines a blizzard, because there's actually some pretty specific criteria. So what is a blizzard? Well, you've got to have, of course, the snow. Now, there's no exact number to define here. You just need large amounts of snow or blowing snow. You need visibility that is greatly reduced. In addition to wind, of course, we have the sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or greater. You need the visibility that's a quarter mile or less, and then you need all these conditions to last for at least 3 hours. So you get the snow, the wind, and the visibility together for at least 3 hours, and now you've got a blizzard. So let's go all the way back. This is over 100 years ago, and talk about the first blizzard. This one was November 9th through 11th of 1913. This was also known as the Great Hurricane of 1913, or the Great Lakes Hurricane of 1913, because we had a significant drop in pressure, 28.78 inches or 975 millibars. We had 50-mile-per-hour winds for about 12 hours. The highest winds, though, were near 80 miles per hour, and the total snow was almost 2 feet. So imagine all that together. Treacherous conditions on the lake. We had over 30 ships lost. Unfortunately, almost 300 sailors lost their lives. Now let's take you to the second one. We have this one that was known as the Thanksgiving blizzard. This also occurred in November, if you can believe it. Several days there. Also known as the Great Appalachian Storm of 1950. We had the infamous Snow Bowl when Ohio State played Michigan, or I should say that team up north. The snow, very low-scoring game. Now, total snow in Cleveland, again, almost 2 feet there. And this one cost a lot of money. It was a $1 million storm, and 23 people died. So definitely a lot going on there. And finally, the most recent, 1978, the blizzard here. This one occurred in January, towards the end of January. We had the pressure drop to 28.28 inches, or almost 958 millibars. 30-degree temperature drop in just a couple of hours. Sustained winds over 50 miles per hour. Maximum wind gust over 80 miles per hour at Hopkins. Not as much snow in Cleveland, so that shows you the difference there, but over 100,000 people lost power. And that pressure, that is the lowest pressure still to this date ever recorded in Ohio. So those are the 3 blizzards here in Cleveland, and now you know a little bit more about the history.
Good info right there, Andy. Hey, you don't need blizzard-like conditions to run into trouble on the roads when it comes to snow. Is your car winter ready? Here's meteorologist Erica Page with a very important checklist as we head into the winter season.
I'm meteorologist Erica Page, and one of the important things, especially as we near the winter season, is making sure that you're prepared, that if you have to be out in winter weather, which the likelihood is most of us will, that you're as prepared as possible. And let's just talk about your vehicle more specifically. Remember, you got to make sure the battery is good to go. Make sure that tire tread is good as well, because that's going to be key in trying to get as much traction as possible, especially when you start to get the snow falling and it creates that barrier between your tire and then eventually the pavement. So the outside of your car, without a doubt, certainly key, but having supplies inside also makes a world of difference, because unfortunately, if an accident does happen, you want to make sure you're as prepared as possible. Some easy things to keep in mind. Of course, most of us at this point, if it's snowing, we're already probably going to have that winter coat ready to go, some warm gloves in case you do need to maybe dig yourself out a little bit, nice hat, a bag to store a lot of this stuff in. And keep in mind, in the bag you can also throw in some first aid kit items, some water, which keep in mind if it's out in the cold it may freeze, so you may want to bring it inside periodically. Any snacks in case you do end up spending some time outside for a more prolonged period of time. Warm boots, preferably ones that are waterproofed as well. A snow brush to make sure you're keeping your car as clear as possible until emergency crews arrive. And of course, conserving that heat. If you're unfortunately stuck for a more prolonged period of time, you want to make sure you can bundle up as much as possible, because you may have to conserve gas just for a little bit longer. So having these things in a go bag in your trunk of your car makes it very easy, especially once we start to get into this winter season. We want to make sure you're as safe as possible. Now, once you are out on the roads and say we do have some adverse winter weather, whether that be lake effect snow or we just have a big old snowstorm that's starting to roll through, make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time if you have to be out on the roadways. Be cognizant of other drivers as well, and make sure that you're giving yourself and others as much distance as possible, and you're really looking out for some of those plows. We had a lot of accidents with plows last year. We don't want to see that repeated as we go into this year. So remember, winter weather happens here in Northeast Ohio, but making sure you're prepared now makes it a whole lot easier once you start to get into the winter season, to make sure you and your family can stay safe.
Going over all that stuff right now. Hey, make this part of your checklist too. Download the 19 First Alert Weather app. You can use that QR code you see right there on your screen. It is free, and it will give you all the important information you need when serious winter weather is headed for your neighborhood. All right, it's the big question everyone wants to answer. They want the answer to this. How much snow is Cleveland's most accurate weather team expecting this year? Chief Meteorologist Jason Nicholas is up next with that answer.
This is a First Alert Focus Special, your 19 News winter weather forecast.
There's a blindfold because the law shouldn't favor one person or group. When I was Chief Justice, our Supreme Court ruled gerrymandered maps unconstitutional 7 times. Politicians do maps to benefit themselves and their party. Now politicians are lying about Issue 1. Well, justice is blind, but we aren't. Issue 1 brings accountability by banning politicians from drawing voting maps and restores power where it belongs, with citizens. Vote yes on Issue 1.
After careful review of medical guidance and research on pain relief, my recommendation is simple. Every home should have Salonpas. Powerful, yet non-addictive. Targeted and long-lasting. I recommend Salonpas. It's good medicine. He sent me to.
Good news for people eligible for Medicare. Now is the right time to get more coverage with a Zing Health Medicare Advantage plan, specifically designed for people with kidney conditions that require dialysis, like end-stage renal disease. Zing Special Needs Kidney plans offer more coverage beyond that of original Medicare. These plans have a $0 premium and $0 or low copays. Plus, get lots of amazing extras, like prescription drug coverage with $0 deductible, $0 copays on all Tier 1 and Tier 6 medications, $0 insulin medications, and free home delivery. Zing has plans for people with diabetes, heart and kidney conditions. The kidney plan offers $0 dialysis services and free unlimited transportation, plus $0 copay for specific specialists like nephrologists. Get a ride to and from dialysis and to see your kidney specialist with no money out of your pocket. You also get coverage for preventive and comprehensive dental services, including dentures and crowns, vision and hearing coverage that includes allowances for eyewear and hearing aids, plus a flex card to cover additional dental, vision, and hearing costs. Call 833-835-5858. Now, to speak to friendly, knowledgeable licensed agents to request your free all-in-one guide. They can answer your questions, help you understand your options, and even help you enroll over the phone. Zing partners with doctors and hospitals in your community to connect you with the right care at the right time. More good news. Zing provides savings and support with help doing light housework. Plus, you get an allowance for groceries, healthcare items, utility payments, and much more. Get amazing coverage now. Call the number on your screen to get answers to your Medicare questions. And we'll even help you enroll over the phone. Call now.
Reliable Snow Plowing is looking for experienced snow fighters. We need sidewalk shovelers, loader operators, skid steer operators, and plow trucks. We offer next day pay, and we have routes 15 minutes from your home. Reliable Snow Plowing. Apply today.
This is a First Alert Focus Special, your 19 News winter weather forecast.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jason Nicholas, and we're at one of the places where snow is a good thing in northern Ohio. We're on the slopes, Boston Mills, Brandywine, and last few years, not a lot of natural snow here. So the big question is, how much snow will we get this winter? That's the question everyone wants to know. So to answer that, let's bring in our weather center out here to the slopes, and we have to look at different weather patterns. One of those being La Nina. We've talked a little bit about it here on our weather special, our First Alert winter forecast. And right now the thinking is we'll have a weak La Nina, but we know what that is. That's cooler than normal ocean water in the Pacific, but it does affect us here in northern Ohio and throughout the country. The storm track is key. We've talked a little bit about that, and as long as that storm track is active through the Great Lakes, through the Ohio Valley, that means wetter weather for us, warmer, drier across our south. But again, the thinking here is wetter than normal across the Ohio Valley and northern Ohio. But the big question is, how much cold air will there be? That is always the big issue when we talk about the potential of active winter storms moving through. Is it rain? Is it snow? Another thing we can do is we can look back at past La Nina years. We're going to pick a couple of them out here, and they're both very active as far as snowfall goes when we go back several years. Look at this, 76 and 69 inches of snow. That is above normal. That is a healthy amount of snow. But we're thinking it's a weaker La Nina this year, so we don't put too much credence into that. So let's go ahead and let's put it all in a pot, and here it is, snowing on the slopes at Boston Mills, Brandywine. But what about how much snowfall we're going to get? Well, last year we didn't get much. The last few years we haven't seen much, only mid-20s. We normally get about 60 to 65 inches of snow. Our official forecast this year, 45 to 55 inches of snow. So almost double from what we had the last few years, but still just a little bit below normal. Again, the key will be how much cold air is around for these storms that blow through. Is it rain? Is it more snow? But it should be good news for the ski resorts like Boston Mills, Brandywine, which does open typically in December. They've got epic season passes on sale right now. They're looking forward to a great year. And they also let us come out here and bring in the weather office, so we thank them as well. 45 to 55 inches of snow, so be sure the snow blowers and the shovels are handy.
Wow, Jason, I was hoping you would say less, but you know what? It is what it is. Yeah. The one word that I think of when I think of winter, please tell me we will not have a polar vortex.
Oh, yeah.
That is beyond cold.
Yeah, it is. And too early to really tell.
Too early to
I wouldn't want to even...
Don't even put it out there.
think about making that prediction. It's always possible, but we'll see. Yeah, the big thing here is we've had so many straight years, Tiffany, of below normal snowfall.
We
have. You kind of almost think, well, the law of averages, we're going to have to get above, but we just have really been on a lack of snowfall trend. And it's not necessarily been that we haven't had the moisture there. That's been there.
That's been there,
We've had warmer temperatures, so we've had a lot more rain than snow. I do think, though, this winter we're going to get a little bit more than the last few. So we'll see. We'll be all over it, of course.
Okay.
Live look downtown Cleveland. Coming up, by the way, we have an alert tomorrow for Halloween. More on the rain and wind straight ahead.
That you need a new roof, but $15,000 isn't in the budget? I'm Dan with Roof Max of Parma. Call me to learn how our product is a safe, easy, and affordable alternative to replacing your asphalt roof. Call me or Google Roof Max of Parma to learn more.
Growing old is part of the journey, even when you have heart failure.
But when he had shortness of breath, carpal tunnel syndrome, and lower back pain, we wondered, could these be warning signs of something bigger? Thank goodness we called his cardiologist, because these were signs of ATTR-CM, a rare and serious disease that gets worse over time. If you see any of the warning signs, don't wait. Ask your cardiologist about ATTR-CM today.
When you have moderate to severe eczema, it's okay to show off. With Dupixent, show off your clearer skin and less itch. Because you have plenty of reasons to show off your skin. With Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists, you can stay ahead of your eczema. It helps block a key source of inflammation inside the body that can cause eczema to help heal your skin from within. Many adults saw 90% clearer skin. Some even achieved long-lasting clearer skin and fast itch relief after first dose. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Show off to the world. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year after year.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $339 a month, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
Tired of those hot bed bug treatment prices with no results? Call Tagapest, a complete pest control company. We're affordable and we will work with you. Call Tagapest at 216-797-1777. We turn bed bugs into dead bugs.
Now your 19th First Alert forecast, certified most accurate since 2004.
Well, we just gave you the big winter weather forecast, but you know, we'll see what happens with that. There's a lot of data to crunch. I mean, so many things. We talked about it here during the winter weather special. Global weather patterns. We just highlighted La Nina, weak La Nina. There are so many other things that go into a winter weather forecast that we would need a lot more time to explain that. Also, lake effect snow. That's always a variable here in northern Ohio. And considering we forecast largely for Hopkins, that gets a little tricky as well. But of course, we'll be all over it. We'll issue 19 first alert weather days if we see a storm system 4 or 5 days away, and really focus on it for you and your family. So you get the latest info and the true first alert on what's going to happen. Okay, well, we have a little business to take care of that has nothing to do with winter weather. This has everything to do with tomorrow being Halloween and trick-or-treating. Yeah, all right, tomorrow, the final day of October. Like today, it's not going to feel like it. We're looking at temperatures once again tomorrow pushing 80, but we're also going to bring in rain showers and also very strong winds. Could have winds gusting in the 40s, so tomorrow's a first alert weather day just due to the timing here, because it's likely that we're going to have some rain and especially some wind right around trick-or-treating time. So that's your impact with the wind throughout much of the afternoon. Rain, we'll see. It does look like it's a pretty thin line of rain. Take a look here. This is 6 p.m., but we're going to watch for a little front. Actually, it's a pretty major front. Moisture-wise, we don't have a ton of moisture with it, not a lot of rain, but here it is. There's your cold front. And where this sets up, expect a good half an hour to an hour of rain, quick burst of rain, most likely raining kind of sideways, wind-driven rain. So it's one of those nights where if you're going to be out trick-or-treating, taking the kiddos out, whatever the case may be, the umbrellas aren't going to be great. You can try to use them, but if the winds are coming from the side or they're behind you, the inverted umbrella problem could be an issue tomorrow. So keep that in mind too. The poncho, the raincoat, probably the best idea. And again, when you look at this future view, there's not a whole lot of rain out there. It's mostly spotty, but when it comes down, it'll be pretty quick. Add to that the winds. Here's a look at our wind gusts tomorrow. Wind gust tracker running in the 30s and 40s. So having said that, here's a look at our first alert weather day for Halloween tomorrow. 70s at 3, 70s at 6, 60s at 9 with some rain and some wind. All right, winter will be here before you know it. Not tonight, though. Great shot at downtown Cleveland. Cavs and Lakers. Highlights at 10.